Well, hello, readers. Chapter 43. Are you ready to find out what Cook was stirring? Are you anticipating and predicting that Cook perhaps was cooking soup? The outlawed and banished food of kingdom and the castle? Well, let's find out if that's the case. And then are you wondering why? Why would Cook be doing something that is outlawed, essentially against the law? Are you wondering why Cook might be cooking something that is against the law? Well, let's get our thinking caps ready and find out. That night, Despereaux rolled the thread from the threadmaster's lair, along innumerable hallways and down 3 flights of stairs. Readers, this book has so many wonderful words in it, doesn't it? And a lot of them have appeared on our Word of the Week. In fact, there are so many words, we cannot use them all. So today we have a word of the day. Let's look at this word. In Professors of Phonics, we can look at the parts of this word. Innumerable. Let's look at the clues surrounding this word. Despereaux rolled the thread from the threadmaster's lair along innumerable hallways and down 3 flights of stairs. Readers, let's infer here. Are there some clues to figure out what innumerable means? Innumerable hallways, we know what a hallway is, and down 3 flights of stairs. I see a word part in this word. Do you see a word part? I see the word numerable. Does that remind you of maybe a number? I think we're onto something. A bull means probably a lot. Do you think that there are a lot? So many that maybe we can't count? Innumerable hallways? I think we're on to something, readers. So you might see this word next week, perhaps as a word of the week. But I am thinking this really great big word is meaning that there are quite a few hallways. Indeed. Readers, allow me to put this in perspective for you. Your average house mouse, or castle mouse, if you will, weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 ounces. Now that isn't very much. That's quite a bit less than a pound. Despereaux, as you well know, was in no way average. In fact, he was so incredibly small that he weighed about half of what the average mouse weighs. 2 ounces. That is all. Think about it. He was nothing but 2 ounces of mouse, pushing a spool of thread that weighed about almost as much as he did. Honestly, readers, what do you think the chances are of such a small mouse succeeding in his quest? Zip, zero, nada. Goose eggs. But you must, when you are calculating the odds of the mouse's success, factor in his love for the princess. Love, as we have already discussed, is a powerful, wonderful, ridiculous thing capable of moving mountains and spools of thread. Readers, does this phrase remind you of Dr. Seuss? All the places you go, kid, you can move mountains. So what Kate DiCamillo is saying, readers, the fact of the matter is, when love is so powerful and wonderful and ridiculous, it gives you the power and the strength and the capability of doing things that maybe ordinarily you would not be able to do. Readers, love gives you superpowers. Yes, it does. Powers of moving mountains, powers of going on a quest to saving someone you love, like Despereaux is doing in this story. So even though this story is, in fact, fiction, I believe, readers, that the power of love gives us the superpower and the ability to conquer things, to achieve things, to move forward in a quest. The power of love and the power in the direction of our minds. Yes, readers, that is yoga. When we say we are going to do something, yes, we can. Readers, have you ever experienced something where you have said, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is too hard. Nope, can't. Nope, can do. Cannot do it. Well, what happens? Yeah, you are not able to accomplish that task or what you're trying to do. However, think of the opposite. If you go into something, maybe trying something new, and you say, I think I can, I think I can, I know I can, I will do this. I'm going to try my best. I might not succeed the first time, but I will try. I would love to. I can do this. And then what happens? Indeed. So the power and the direction of the mind, which is a definition of yoga, when you decide that you can do something and you try and try again and you don't give up, you can, in fact, move mountains and do the things you want to do. And with the power of love and positivity, anything can happen. But just know, readers, with our attitude of, I can't, I won't, it's too much, it's too hard, well, then, of course, you're not going to be able to do it. So think about that, readers. This is Mrs. Kinney's lesson of the day. Think about the power and the direction of your mind. And especially if you love somebody or you would love to do something, you can set your mind to do anything you wish, be anything you want to be. You might have to work pretty hard. It might be difficult at times, but we are capable. So anyway, that is the truth. And back to Despereaux. Let's see. Even with the love and purpose in his heart, Despereaux was very, very tired when he reached the door to the castle kitchen at midnight. His paws were shaking, and his muscles were jumping, and the place where his tail should be was throbbing. And he still had a very, very long way to go into the kitchen and down the many stairs of the dungeon, and then somehow, some way, through the rat-filled darkness of the dungeon itself, not knowing where he was going. And oh, readers, when he stopped to consider what lay ahead of him, Despereaux was filled with an icky feeling of despair. Readers, what does despair mean? He was filled, it's an icky feeling, knowing that he was going into this darkness, not knowing. He's feeling concerned, isn't he? Or worried. Exactly. He leaned his head against the spool of thread and he smelled celery there, and he thought of Hovis and how Hovis seemed to believe in him and his quest. So the mouse raised his head and squared his shoulders and pushed the spool of thread forward again into the kitchen, where he saw too late, that there was a light burning. Despereaux froze. Cook was in the kitchen. She was bent over the stove. She was stirring something. Was it sauce? No. Was it stew? No. What was it, readers? What Cook was stirring was soup. Soup, readers, in the king's own castle, against the king's law, right under the king's very nose. Cook was making soup. Uh-oh. What do you think's going to happen? As the mouse looked on, Cook put her face into the steam rising from the pot and took a deep breath. She smelled a beatific smile. She smiled a beatific smile, and the steam rose around her and caught the light of the candle and made a halo over her head. Despereaux knew how Cook felt about mice in her kitchen. He remembered quite clearly her instructions to Mig regarding himself. Kill him. The only good mouse is a dead mouse. But he had to go through Cook's kitchen to get to the dungeon door, and he had no time to waste. Soon daylight would dawn and the whole castle would be awake, and a mouse would have no chance at all of pushing a spool of thread across the floor without attracting a great deal of attention. He would have to sneak past the mouse-hating Cook now. And so, screwing his courage to the sticking place, Despereaux leaned against the spool of thread and set it rolling across the floor. Do you have a picture in your mind, readers? Cook turned from the stove, a dripping spoon in her hand, and a frightened look on her face, and shouted, "Who's there?" Now, do you think Cook is afraid of a mouse? Or might she be afraid of something else? If you said she is afraid of something else, I think you are correct. Is she supposed to be cooking soup in the castle? No way, Jose. She's not supposed to be cooking soup whatsoever. It has been outlawed. The king outlawed any soup, all bowls and kettles and soup spoons from the whole town. And here's the cook making soup. What do you think is going to happen, readers? So, it's been a little while since we've posted our thoughts and our thinking and our predictions on Seesaw. So what I'd like you to do today is to share your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen now? Do you think that Despereaux will make it? Do you think he'll make it through the kitchen to the dungeon so he can retrieve and save the queen on his quest? What do you think is going to happen to the cook? So share your predictions on Seesaw, and we will read the next chapter next time. We're getting close to the end, readers. It's getting exciting. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on Seesaw.